So the new Fallout show has got me like, well, not that I ever stopped being interested in playing Fallout, but it's got me wanting to like replay through like Fallout, of course. And I saw I saw like the Steam version of Fallout 76 was available as like a trial, and I was like, you know what? Fine. I stayed mad for a really long time. The Fallout 76 like even existed, right? And when it first came out, I watched the trash fire burn, like, the brokenness of it, the idea of an RPG with no NPCs, like there was so many things wrong with it. But I was like, all right, it's been a while. Let me give it a shot, right? And it just had me kind of thinking about like video game redemption arcs in general. So yeah, I'm not gonna get too much into 76. I wanna talk about some other examples. But um but yeah, that's just kind of what I was thinking about today. So like they had an update where they actually added in some NPCs, so it felt a bit more like the Bethesda Fallout game, or even the Obsidian one. Like it. I understand, kind of, that like originally they thought it was going to be like the multiplayer version of it was going to be PvP, and that like it wasn't going to be people actually doing like the quest and everything that were interested in the game, but I don't think they understood. Like even with multiplayers, like how you know, the stories of the people like left behind and just trying to make it and survive is really compelling. Like it's something that like a lot of people that play Fallout really like. Who doesn't like Lily, the grandma? Like who doesn't like Harold and Bob? Who like there's so many like Veronica. Like there's so many like memorable characters. Like, it's like like Piper is Fallout's Lydia because she sucks. Like I'm sorry if I offended your waifu, but Piper can get annoying. But like you know, everybody's got their like favorite weird little NPCs, like those very special moments, and the idea that like Bethesda wouldn't play to their own strong suit was baffling to a lot of people, like the same reason people are upset about Starfield. It's like, you know, um interesting characters in an interesting detailed world that you just want to get lost in and explore. That was always there, like nobody's playing a Bethesda game for the tight combat, like you're playing it for the adventure, the sense of exploration. I mean, maybe I don't know, maybe there's somebody that like plays it for different reasons, but I know for me, just seeing what trying to figure out what happened here. It's like, oh, a guard tower where like there's like they've been drinking and they got like a little board game set up and stuff, and that you would come across like little vignettes of like story, and you'd find interesting items, and and you would loot entirely too much stuff and scrap it down, and you know and like look for interesting weapons and mod them in different ways. Like it just it had a really really satisfying gameplay play loop, and like but caring about the world mattered, right? Like eh, you could just play like Destiny. If you just wanted to like just play like a looter shooter, you want to get a little more engrossed in the world and have a story. So like, they really missed the mark, and I'm sorry. But thinking that people would want to PvP with each other, and it primarily was such a like a weird choice. And of course, like, people wanted to help each other because, like, um, why would you not want to, like, interact with other Fallout fans and enjoy adventuring together? I mean, like, the whole reason people wanted multiplayer is because they wanted just like a handful of their friends to be able to go and explore with them, right? Like that's my understanding at least. Or like just the like play like co-op with like one person or something, like not I don't know, like I don't think battle royale when I think Fallout. I mean, I can understand where they were kind of going for, like Mad Max in the Thunderdome, kind of thinking like, like just this whole, tank girl or something. Like they're just going to be like post-apocalyptic, like every man for himself or whatever. But no, it's more of a like, you know, like shit's fucked. Let's collaborate. Let's try to solve some problems. Let's try to share our resources. Like, like it's not getting any better, like, and it's only gonna get worse if we don't help each other. That's kind of like the spirit that I've kind of gone into it too, and that's the one reason that like I did really enjoy the base building in Fallout 4. There's a lot that I don't like about the game, well, obviously, like, you know, um, but I did like the settlement building, because I was like, "I'm helping." I would build these scuffed little shacks for people, and they would, like, farm their little mutant vegetables, and I'm like, I'm making a crappy world better." I don't know, and it would be fun to just go out and, like, and blow up some death claws and stuff and then come back and like see people just farming their little vegetables and sleeping on their little dirty mattresses that I set up for them. And I don't know, it just felt good, and I wanted that kind of experience. So yeah, like I just wasn't even interested initially in 76 because of, the lack of NPCs, because, saying, "Hey, you get to be mildly annoyed by other people with, like, open mics and trying to PvP with you and whatever," like, that was not a compelling reason for me to buy a whole other game that I couldn't even mod when, I've got, like, much better versions of Fallout to play already. But yeah, I I gave the game a try. Like I haven't gotten very far in it. I held off playing it for so long because I was like, I'm mad that this exists, and I I should have given it a fair chance, but I'm glad that I waited for several like patches and updates and everything first, because I I have been in on the ground floor of a bad launch a lot before, and like it was nice to sit it out until until I was actually ready to play. And it I can't speak for its state of launch versus beyond just the videos I watched about like what a dumpster fire it was. Like I didn't personally experience it, but you know I've played I've played a finished game um by Bethesda before, so I can believe the state of things. Like there were some design choices I didn't agree with, and I'm glad that they walked it back. Um and Another game that like had a complete like redemption arc was No Man's Sky. Um like Hello Games was like a fairly small studio. They went around making some promises, and when the game came out, it didn't include everything that everybody was expecting, and amazingly, they like put their head down, got to work, um, like didn't didn't talk about it, didn't do anything. They just said, "Okay, let's make the game we promised." And slowly over time, they made a better game than they promised. They gave free updates for 5 years. The game is so much better and so much beyond like what they ever originally promised. And they completely redeemed themselves. And and Sean Murray gets up and announced a new game, and everybody's like, "Oh no, not again." But like for me, I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, promise something you'll later deliver. I will, like I'm in. Like I have faith in you as a studio because you redeemed yourself, you proved yourself. And another one fairly recently that I'm so glad about, because yeah, I really enjoyed The Witcher, so I'm so glad that like CD Projekt Red was able to come back from a terrible launch with Cyberpunk, like because it is such a good game that it got, like a lot of the problems were very memeable because if you're able to T-pose on a motorcycle and have your pants come off and like just, just drive around, that's very funny. It's a very funny video and like some of the glitches were encouraged by users, right? Like there was a lot of like like star-filled NPCs looking kind of jank where people, you know, carefully targeted the camera to make them look worse and the lighting or whatever, but the game was broken for some people and there was some stuff that they fixed and they have fixed it. It's a really really good game now and the DLC is amazing and I'm so I'm so happy because that kind of makes it um a lot easier for them to like have like future projects succeed. And I personally just really like to see I like to see good games and I would hate for a bad first impression to like ruin the chance of like a good game in the future. So I'm really glad that they were able to come back from it. And I I guess one more is I'm sorry, one second. I'm getting over being sick. So Elder Scrolls Online. I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan, so I played it at launch and it did not feel like an Elder Scrolls game. It felt like like Warcraft with weird lore. And um they they're like the biggest change that they ended up making was like the one update where they were like, we hear you. Like you want to go anywhere and do anything, so having set levels for zones was really really restrictive. And they changed it where the world scaled, so you can start out in the starting area, you can go off to Morrowind or Somerset, or you can go off to do like the Dark Brotherhood or the Thieves Guild, or however you want to level. You are not fixed in any particular zone. Like it's like fine, start out in the Black Marsh if you feel like it, right? And that was such a good choice. And freeing up the ability to have the race you want to play in different factions was a good choice too. I I the game came out a long time ago. I've spoken really, really like firmly, like don't pre-order games. But unfortunately, I did pre-order that one because I knew I was going to play like on launch day. So I had the Imperial Edition. So I already had the ability to play different factions originally, but them opening that up to everybody was a really good choice because limiting people's options in an RPG is such a bad idea, like in general. But but yeah, I wasn't having a good time at launch. I came back later when they had made some changes, and I was really happy with it. Until I wasn't happy again, because that's how these things kind of go. But I don't know what what's like a game that like had like a really bad launch and actually came back from it. Like one time, one time a game just never recovered for me was Age of Conan. Like I played it at launch and there were definitely some problems. There was like a memory leak. There was some jankiness with the NPCs. Like I remember I was like in Tortage, and there was some NPCs that were supposed to be walking, and for some reason it looked like they were ice skating, and like and they were like glitching out of their outfits and stuff, and they were, there was some other like just little technical stuff that just it was kind of funny, but it absolutely took you out of the world, and they worked so hard to bring Conan to life that it was really like disappointing to be pulled out of it because you wanted, like you wanted to be immersed in the world. They did like a really good job on it. And like another aspect that was like completely beyond their control was that the starting experience was so good and voiced and everything, and then it just falls off like after like level like what 40ish or something, like kind of mid game, and watching the NPCs just gesture and talk with no recorded dialogue was very jarring and off-putting for a lot of people that weren't like just fully invested into the game, and it's a shame. From what I understand, not dissimilar to the Secret World, how they relaunched it as Secret World Legends, that Age of Conan Exiles is kind of like a soft relaunch of Age of Conan. Um, and that's got more of a player base. Like they made some changes, but you know, they never got back some of the original player base that they had at launch, and that's a real shame because they definitely put the work in to try to make the game better. So it's nice when when redemption actually works. I mean, I know that like CD Projekt Red has probably lost some players forever because Cyberpunk just wasn't as good at launch as it became. But like hopefully like it's really hard to get over a bad first impression. Like it's a lot easier it's a lot easier to come back from it if the initial first impression is good. It's really hard to win people back once you lose them. But yeah, I I don't know, I love it when I see it. Like oh yeah, what are some games that you've seen redeemed over time that had like a bad launch or got a bad rap, or like they got memed to oblivion, but like they were actually good games. um I don't know. Take care.